Three men from Ontario accused of taking part in a homegrown terrorist plot are alleged to have selected specific targets in Canada. Security sources have told CBC News the group discussed targeting government buildings and public transit systems.
There's a growing concern about radicalization inside Canada. So that is homegrown terrorism.
That's Public Safety Minister Vic Taves in his initial reaction to the arrests of the three. He wouldn't go into specific details, but did say, as you heard there is growing concern about radicalization and also people becoming radicalized over the internet. Taves is urging Canadians to be more vigilant on matters of public safety. There is widespread reaction to the arrests and the details that we have to this point about the alleged terror plot. We want to bring you some of the reaction now. My guest here in studio is the founder of the Muslim Canadian Congress, and always welcome his voice on matters like this. Tariq Fatah here, and good to see you. Thank you very much. How serious a threat do you think these three suspects represent?
Oh, they are just the tip of the iceberg, I would say. And I'll tell you something, the minister may say it's from the internet. This has very little to do with the internet. These books from the Muslim Brotherhood that ask or urge young Muslim men to wage jihad against people like you are sold all across the country. You could go to Yonge and Dundas at Dundas Square, and there will be a gentleman distributing Sayyid Maududi's books to everyone. And in those books, these are the founders of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Jamaat Islami. They openly say that it is the duty of every Muslim living in a non-Muslim country to wage armed jihad against the infidel.
They can take that information, and then the internet is providing a bit of a tour or a new frontier to share it.
Internet, by the time they go to the internet, the damage is already done. They're using the internet to connect with Al-Qaeda, and anyone who says that Al-Qaeda is not existence, is living in a fool's paradise, or is covering up for them. These young men are just one group. Now imagine at every Friday sermon, if the cleric comes up and gives the ritual prayer for God to defeat Christians and Jews and for victory of Muslims and Islam over this world. If you are 5, by the time you reach 15, 16, you've heard that every Friday. What sort of an impact it's going to leave on you?
So is it starting there? Or I was talking to someone just last hour who was suggesting, and what they're seeing in Britain as they look at this issue as well with a public inquiry going on, is that it is Western-based Muslims who have been turned by the ongoing wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's nonsense.
No.
That's absolute nonsense. In the 1800s, when the Wahhabis invaded Iraq and slaughtered 100,000 Muslims in the city of Karbala, there was no United States there was no Israel. This notion to slaughter the infidel, and by infidel they mean any Muslim who doesn't agree with them. Therefore, the jihadis kill almost 100 Muslims a day. This has been going on for a few hundred years. And the problem is that most of the Western world doesn't even understand the doctrine of Islamism, let alone confront it. It's embarrassing that a minister that's in charge of billions of dollars would beg community members to volunteer. If you do not have the resources, then you should reach out to that Somali community that he was talking about and hire them to tell them who are the people here. We are asking that any Canadian born in this country who visits Pakistan, Somalia, or Yemen or Afghanistan on their return should be debriefed. Kabul is no longer a hippie trail. So when people from Montreal visit Afghanistan or go to Somalia, we know exactly why they're going there. And let no one fool you. I mean, people can fool bleeding heart white liberals, but they can't fool us. We are Muslims. We know the cost we are paying for the weakness of the spine in Western intelligentsia.
You know, it's interesting, you have spoken out in this way for years now, often to your own detriment in terms of criticism within the Muslim community. But what I found interesting in light of the recent arrests this week were other Muslim leaders coming forward to say, sort of to denounce those other Muslims with extremist leanings.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work. You have to denounce the doctrine